Okay, here's a video on adding and subtracting matrices. So it's important to know when we add or subtract a matrix, they have to have the same dimension. Very important. Again, they have to have the same dimension. So here's an example. If I had a 1 by 3, remember, rows come first, then columns. So let's say we had, here's a matrix. It's a 1 by 3 matrix. Again, it has 1 row and 3 columns. So if I wanted to add this with another matrix, I would have to have another matrix with the same dimensions. Right? Something like this, for example. We can add these. But if they were different dimensions, we couldn't add them or subtract them. Now, again, just to review, we have elements in the matrix, and every number in the matrix is an element. So let's go over adding to matrix. So what we want to do is we want to add, let's just make some first. Let's make a matrix here. So here we have a 2 by 1 matrix. Right? This is a 2 by 1. So if I wanted to add a matrix, it also has to be 2 by 1. So here we have two matrices together, matrices, and we're going to get an answer. So what we want to do is we want to add, in this case we're adding, so we want to add each element in one matrix with its corresponding element. So this one right here, this number 2, it's in the first row and the first column, so we want to add it with the corresponding one. So 2 plus negative 2 becomes 0. And then 5 plus 3, we have 8. So that's how we added that matrix. So let's do another example. Okay, so here I have a 2 by 3 matrix. I'm going to add it to another 2 by 3 matrix. You want to add each element with its corresponding element in the other matrix. So 3, we're going to add the 3 to the 5. 3 plus 5 is 8. 7 plus negative 3 is 4. 0 plus 0 is 0. And the same for the others. 5 plus negative 2 is 3. 2 plus 0 is 2. And 1 plus negative 1 is 0. So this is the answer. So again, you're adding each element with its corresponding element in the other matrix. And the same goes with subtraction. So let's do a subtraction problem. Okay, so let's make one here. So let's say I have a 2 by 2 matrix. Now we want to minus it with another 2 by 2 matrix. So we just minus. Be careful here when you're minusing. 2 minus minus 2. Remember what we do with subtraction. Keep change, change. So this will actually be 2 plus plus. So 2 minus negative 2. 2 minus negative 2 is actually 2 plus 2. So we would get a 4 here. 5 minus minus 3 will give us an 8. 3 minus 5 will give us a negative 2. And 2 minus minus 7 will give us a 9. So be careful with the subtraction. And that'll be our answer for that matrix. So when we think of linear equations, let's say we had 3 plus x equals 5. We know we can subtract 3 on both sides to get the x alone, and we know x is 2. We're doing the same thing with matrices. So let's do an example here. Let's say I had, so we had 2 and negative 3, 5 and 6, plus x, and we want it to equal, well, let's just do this. So again, just like we would do a linear equation, we want to subtract this matrix on one side, whatever we do to one side we do to the other, to find out what x is. So we're going to minus the 2, negative 3, 5 and the 6, and we'll get x. and then we can check to see if we're right. So 0 minus 2 is negative 2. 3 minus 5 is negative 2. 5 minus 3 is 8. And negative 2 minus 6 is also 8. Negative 8. So here is our answer. And now let's check. This plus this matrix has to equal this. Let's check. Okay, again, we want to get this answer. 0, 5, 3, negative 2. So let's look at what we did. We just plug in x. 2 plus negative 2 is 0. 5 plus negative 2 is 3. Negative 3 plus 8 is 5. And 6 plus negative 8 is negative 2. So this answer is that answer. That's how we did it. Let's do one with subtraction. Okay, here's an example with subtraction. So again, we want to get the x by itself. And we have a plus, so we want to do the opposite operation. So we're going to minus this matrix. Just like in linear equations. Whatever we do to one side, we're going to do to the other. So we'll minus it on this side. And you can change this whole thing here. You can distribute the minus and change all the signs. Or you just simply subtract them. So 4 minus minus 2, be careful, 4 minus minus 2 is 6. 6 minus 0 is 6. And then be careful here, we have a minus 4 minus 3, and that's a minus 7. And then we have 1 minus a minus 2, and that's 3. Now if you wanted to change this box, I'll just show you that. Let's say we had this box here. We had a minus outside, we had a minus 2. You can distribute it, right? So you can change it right away if you want to do that. So just change the signs. That'll be a 2 because a minus times a minus is positive. Just change the sign. Now you can't change the sign of 0. It just stays 0. And you can get that. So if you wanted to do that in the beginning, you could have did that, but you would get the same answer anyway. So now we have this answer, and we want to check. So when we want to check, we want to take this for x, plus it with this, and we should get that answer. So let's check. Okay, so let's look. So we're plugging in x. So now 6 plus negative 2 is 4. 6 plus 0 is 6. Negative 7 plus 3 is negative 4. And 3 plus negative 2 is 1. So that was, this answer was that answer which we had before. So that's how we check it. So again, when we add or subtract matrices, make sure that they have the same dimension, and make sure that you add or subtract the corresponding element with the corresponding element in the other matrix. So the next video we'll do is multiplying.